Do you ever imagine sometimes how life would be like without God, or how life would be like in the absence of God? So here is an argument on the absurdity of life without God. So this argument is purely based on the work of William Lane Crank. If God does not exist, then life will completely be meaningless. If there's no God, your life is simply an accidental byproduct of nature. And when your life is simply an accidental byproduct of nature, then your life is the result of matter plus time plus chance. And so there's no greater purpose of life. There's no meaning of living. And life is absurd in the absence of God. So no God, then there is no meaning. So to have meaning, then there has to be the existence of God. Theologian by the name Paul Tillich talks about the trait of non-being. When we think about death, we are all filled with terror, we are all filled with pain, we are all filled with fear that when we die, all the experiences, all the memories, all the knowledge that we acquired, the consciousness, it all disappears like nothing. So it's all oblivious. Without God, our life is an execution. We are doomed to death with no meaning. And every good things that you do, or every bad things that you do, have no meaning at the end. If our life is simply an effect of an explosion called Big Bang about 13 billion years ago, then life still does not have meaning. Big Bang does still not give us hope and meaning. So life is utterly meaningless without God. Think about it. Science does not explain about life beyond death. They do not know what happens after death. We are laid out in obscurity. And if there is no immortality after death, then there is no ultimate difference between existing and not existing at all. There is a small hilarious story from science fiction. There was a scientist who was given an option to choose between two pills. One was a poison to death, and the other one was the pill that will make the person live forever. So there is no death. So in Pratigami, the scientist quickly picked the pill that will make him die, and he swallowed. And he realized that he chose the wrong pill, and he lived forever. So the fear of the scientist was to live forever without purpose and meaning, because as the materialistic science would show that life is simply the product of nature, life is a random outcome. Think about it. Even if there is immortality, and even if man and universe have to exist forever, without God, there is still absurdity, and life is still meaningless, and life is still oblivious. As Dostoevsky said, if there is no immortality, then all things are permitted. So the outcome of promoting the idea that God does not exist leads to hedonism. All human life will live a hedonistic life, where the principle is to maximize pleasure and minimize pain, simply because life only lives once. And you have one life, so you do all the things that you do. If you have a reason to kill somebody, kill. If you have a reason to get drunk, get drunk. If you have a reason to indulge in drug, use drug. If you have a reason to do anything, you have a freedom to do so. You have to promote pleasure. You have to maximize pleasure and minimize pain. Run away from pain. That's what the hedonistic idea is all about. And without God, there cannot be objective standard of right or wrong. How do we decide what is wrong and what is right? Because there is no idea such as good or bad. How can a byproduct of socio-biological evolution and conditioning decide which one is good and which one is bad? If at all our life is a byproduct of socio-biological evolution and conditioning, then in a world without God, who is there to tell us which value is right and which value is wrong? How do we make the judgment? How do we judge that Hitler committed something wrong? Or how do we decide that Jesus did something right? In a world without God, we cannot condemn war, oppression, or crime, or all works of evil. Nor can we praise brotherhood, equality, and love as good. We have no reason to say which is right or which is wrong, which is bad and which is good without God. When we look into the hierarchy of purpose, without God, life has no ultimate or greater purpose. Let's start with something small. Why do you want to do good to people? And you might answer, I want to do good to people because I want to make them happy. Then the question might expand. Then why do you want them to be happy? Then you might say, because their lives matters to me. Then why does their life matters to you? Then the purpose keeps expanding and expanding until you reach the idea of God. Therefore, when there is God, everything is meaningful and purposeful. Life has a purpose and meaning with God. And in the absence of God, life breaks down to a value of matter.